to put it in like standard terms for like people out there, like find your talent, find the talent, find your talent, what you're talented in, and just feed it water, feed it whatever you need to feed it to make it grow, to just do you, like do what makes you feel good, what just puts a smile on your face that you're just naturally good at. Because, you know, others gonna look at it like, oh man, he's putting all this hard work into, you know, something they can't do, and tell you to stop. Like, how does that work? Like, you should be wanting to do what people can't do.
What are you doing today that makes you better than the person you were yesterday? That is part of the Ascension brand. That is the motto, the heart of what we stand for. When I pass away, I want people to know. I want people to remember me. Not for the time that I spent on this planet, but for the things that I have done to contribute to society. My mama raised a loser, but I broke the chains. I wasn't made to be a...
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy Marcus Morton, and always here with me is
your boy Aaron Mack.
And back again for another time we have Coco.
All right. All right, man, oh man. I think we had to switch up that the intro just a little bit, like for the simple fact, like
is that your voice? Like, how did you...
What happened?
That, like, in the intro, is that you saying all that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of figured, but I was just like, it's dope. It don't sound like him.
Yeah,
that's the point.
That's my song.
What? Well, I mean, the intro. Are you the one talking?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That was actually it was an audio clip from a conference that I did. Not a conference, but it was a presentation that I did, and I was doing like the motivational part of the sale, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but I was part of a network marketing company that did presentations like on a regular. So at one of our presentations, there was like a lot of skeptical people, and I was just like mad. I was like, I was like, all right, so here's the deal. Like, and then I just went into this speech about, and that's when like all this like legacy stuff came to me about like doing it for your last name and doing something today that's going to make your future self love you even more. And like that's the speech that came from it, and it was being recorded, and I didn't even know it. So I was like, it would be perfect to put that at the beginning of the song. Because like nobody else is going to hear that ever again. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do that. Like, I'm just going to put that at the beginning of a song. So yeah, that's what that was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So the conversation that you wanted to have on today's episode, let's get into that right quick.
Okay. All right. So it's basically all about planting a seed. That's why I'm like, that was a great story, the intro, because like that really goes together with what we're trying to talk about.
Oh, perfect transition.
So planting a seed, kind of touching base with what we talked about investing in your brother, but more or less investing in yourself. Wouldn't you want to plant something, even maybe something small, that could benefit you down the long run, or someone else down to the long run?
Right.
So there's a story I have behind, which like just blew my mind, because it like came up like just so flawlessly. All right, so I don't know if it was like right after high school or right after college, but I made a post. I was like, tired of sitting on my butt, tired of, doing all these, fast food jobs and all this other stuff.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make my own game, make my own app. I'm going to make my own AI system.
Okay.
So I would put that on Facebook, and my homeboy, he hit me up. He was like, he put a comment. He was like, man, you ain't got to, post it. You ain't got to look for anybody else's, confirmation. Like, do it yourself. Right. I was like, all right, shoot, fuck it, dope. All right, so I started looking up like what I need to do, and all this other stuff. And I kept running into like the same problem. They were like, for like an artificial intelligence system, that's what AI stands for. You would need like top grade, military grade stuff. Like you ain't gonna make Jarvis off of no like basic computer systems or something like that. So I was like, all right, you know what? Fuck it, maybe it's not my time. So put that off.
I don't really know if that's true, because I feel like with coding, anything is possible.
Yeah. Right. So put that off. I was like, fuck it. So I went to work. So went through like after I worked at Amazon.
More work for me.
You just had a cuss word.
You just gotta go in and censor that again.
Well, I mean, I was a temp agent.
Continue your story, sir.
So I went to go work at this facility. How about that?
You already said it. It's too late. It's too late. Just don't say it again.
I went to work there, and I left and went to like some other construction jobs, and I just like hated each and every job after that. So recently I started going back to school, trying to learn coding and all this other stuff, web designing, all that other stuff. So recently, an opportunity came up where I could start making my own video games. So I was like, oh shit.
This the conversation that we were having, or something different?
Basically the conversation we were having.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, cool, bet.
In a class?
Nah, there's a game where you can make your own games through the stuff. Okay. Anyway, so had this research paper that I had to do that's based on my field of study, which is web development.
Right.
So I'm looking through the school database and trying to find articles and all this other stuff. And there's one article stuck out to me. They're starting to use artificial intelligence to make websites.
Okay. So
I was like, that kind of goes back to that post I made. Like, I can make a game and start doing, working on AI systems just from, this career. And I was like, if I would have stuck with this, I maybe could have got this information like way sooner.
Probably.
So I was like, we're gifted with talents. And sometimes we like quit because things seems too hard, or we don't want to put in the work and all this other stuff. And I was just like, wow. And I hope that post comes up. I think it's somewhere in my Facebook memories, so I can share it again. But
yeah, like to what you're saying, it's like, it's funny how if you follow one certain path, it's crazy how the universe continues to compound on what you said you wanted to do. And it's funny how you said that about what you said about quitting, because like what a lot of people do, and what I learned, like a lot of people would say they want to do something, and then instead of committing to doing it first, they look up all the reasons of why they can't do it first, and they do that before they commit to it. But instead of doing that, what you could do is just be like, all right, so this is what I want to do, and we gonna figure out the rest of it later. Right. Like when I was talking to the guy last, the one we were talking about last week. Can't say his name, but the one okay, the disrespectful, gotcha. Disrespectful quote unquote entrepreneur / charity case. I told him about 1,000. Right. I told him about Project 1,000, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was like, "Well, that's kind of impossible." I sure do. What? I absolutely sure do. I promise you it is. But guess what? It's gonna get done.
Damn right.
It's gonna get done. There's no way around it. Like, I don't care how much work I got to do to make it happen. I don't care about any of that. Like, I have to make it happen. Right. It's not a principle of what's it going to take. It's like, how dedicated are you to making your dreams a reality? And the thing about sowing seeds, like compound effect, man. Like one thing leads to another. Like if you continue putting that energy out there to the universe, like you're going to be successful at doing something. Like you can't not like if I drop a grain of sand in a bottle for an entire year or however long it takes, eventually the bottle is going to get full. Like even though it's a small piece, the bottle still gets full. You're still sowing something. You're putting something towards, you're putting some kind of energy towards a certain action. So even though it's a small feat towards a bigger goal, people just fail to look at the big picture of the entire goal. And that's one thing that we screw up as a society, and the world that we live in, and I mean, we all in real being realistic, like the world that we live in puts us in this frame of mind where we had to have everything like right now. And that's why we call it the microwave society. And I think back on sorry, I'm getting long winded with it. But I think back on when bless you. When the in 2010 when I first started writing the Ascension Universe. Like I think back on that, and like I could have thought about all kind of excuses. I could have been like, yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to, start on it until I get a good name. Like, I'm not even sure if the Ascension Universe is going to stick with it. Like, I'm not even sure if that's a thing, but it has to be copywritten. So I'm not going to worry about the name right now. Like, I'm going to worry about that down the line, but the content itself needs to be copywritten. I'm not going to wait until everything is all in line and in place. Like, I'm going to be 100% real with you. When the idea first came to me, it wasn't what it is right now. It wasn't 162 characters in this whole expansive universe. Like that wasn't a thing back in 2010. It was an idea, some runoff. Like if you read the first book, like if I had the first book, like a copy of the first book, and I like showed it to anybody, like that, it would be the most embarrassing piece of work that I think I've ever worked on in my life. It took me about a year to finish it. And it had no context. It had the worst spelling mistakes that I've ever seen. Like I had a iPod Touch, and that's what I wrote it on because that was all I had access to at the time. When I took that thing off of that iPod and put it in the Microsoft Word, bro, you should have seen all the red lines, and I was like, oh my God, I'm glad I didn't publish that. But that just goes to show, like, you don't have to wait until, like, even though it was full of mistakes, the project was still done, right. And it taught me something. In the end, it taught me something.
It really blew my mind how it just came back like that. And be honest with you, like motivational speaker I listened to, he was like, it's better to be a flowing river than a stagnant pond.
Ooh, yeah. Who said that?
I don't know his name.
Oh man,
that's one of ET guys, I believe. Cause bro, that saying alone stuck with me. Cause
that kind of sound like Carl.
He was like, a stagnant pond gets contaminated because it's always just sitting. It's always just collecting.
Yeah.
Just whatever comes his way. It's just, whatever. But that stuck with me because I was stagnant in my life recently. Actually, just going with the flow. Whatever comes my way, just whatever. But listening to that and teaming up with you, it really motivated me. Like you planned something to me, cause like, bruh, like for like, bruh. Starting all this is just like really amped me up. Like,
no question.
I'm in it for the long run. I want to see this 1,000, and I want to do a whole lot of stuff.
In the microphone, sir. In the microphone.
Okay. But yeah. It's real interesting how God just puts people in our lives and just in front of us to grow.
Speaking of that, go ahead. We'll jump into that.
Oh, another thing. So I'm really trying to help you out with all this other stuff because I don't want you to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our coworkers is selling a gaming computer. I trust him. He ain't gonna sell us no bullshit stuff.
Okay.
But he paid $900 for it, but he's letting it go for like $400 because he already has like a super rig that he bought. Turns out the guy he was trying to sell it to didn't pay him, so he's gonna go pick it up. So he was like, if you're interested, you can get it. I was like, all right, cool, bet.
What do you plan on doing?
Any and everything.
Any and every, you don't say any and everything. Like, you had to be specific. You know, you got a life of your own, and I ain't trying to be too. I don't want AMG to be a job for you.
Whatever you need me to do, bro. Like I said, that's why I wanted to practice on Wix now. So when we get that, we can just.
Well, Wix is already like. I mean, you can manage it, but you know, there ain't too much to do. The website is already done. Like I could teach you how to use it, just for the sake of you know, if you wanted to make edits to the video, not the video, but the website itself. But for the most part, there's not too much work that needs to go into that at the moment. Okay. Future stuff, you know, updates and other things like that. Yeah, obviously, but you know, videos is usually the main thing. And my social media game it's. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that, Coco. Don't do me like that. I know my social media game ain't all that strong. Like, you know, we need to make a social media presence, and I don't know if you can help out with that. I don't know how good you are with social media either, but you know, we got an expert over here. She be calling me out on like random stuff, like, hey, do this that way, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I ain't even think of that. Like, oh yeah, you're right. You know, we should get her on the team or something like. But yeah, we'll discuss that more in detail. Like I actually love that idea, and I could see if I could put something towards that as well, and invest in that idea. But it's funny how you said something about. Excuse me. It's funny how you said something about being in the right path and people falling in your life that, you know, could send you to the next level. It's like I completely forgot that Miss Lady's daughter was going to start working with us as of recently.
Yeah.
And you know, I talked to her already about the Ascension Universe, and you know, she's I want to say she's interested, but she said that she's going to do some research to see how that works, because she's never worked long term with somebody before. Like I told her the vision, how long I've been working on it, and like what's the goal, like the next goal. Like I told her, like the book is going to be released next year around springtime, because I plan on finishing it in September, working on the second book right after, and actually doing a release in early 2021. And I was like, well, we working on the website right now and the database of all the characters, and I'm like, I need an artist, because I cannot add drawing to my plate. Like I cannot do it. Like it's way too much right now. Like, so she said she'll get back with me, and like I thought about it. I was like, yo, like there's no way that, because when I had the idea to talk to her about it at first, I had no idea that she was going to start working with us. And like I just came to work one day, this was Sunday, came to work and was just thinking about it. I'm like, yo, I really need to get that ball rolling. And like then I see this person out the corner of my eye, and I'm like, hold up. And I was like, backed up, I was like, hey, you are such. She was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, we met at Comic-Con, at GalaxyCon. I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And yeah, that kind of went that way, you know. So hopefully, fingers crossed, you know, we can partner up and do something, because like this, we got to get this done. You have to get this done. It's been way too long, man. Way too long. Like I remember, like when I first met you, I wasn't nowhere near as halfway near the amount of accomplishments that I've made, or the strides that I've made with the Ascension Universe as of right now, when we first talked about this podcast.
Oh.
This dude. But But like you,
I feel you,
but
I
pretty
feel you,
much
though.
like you were saying, like this, all this right here, like setting up the studio, starting the podcast, like just linking up together to see what we can start working on. All the content that we've created so far, like it's lit a fire under me too, because now it's like, now you're really being held accountable. Like there's no way for you to sit back and just hide behind your excuses anymore. Like
Right.
it's not possible. Like you have people watching you now. You have people around you to hold you, keep you accountable. You have people that's gonna call you out on social media when you misspell a word. You know, like
Facts.
there's no way for me to hide behind their excuses anymore. And I love that. Like that fuels me. That keeps me going because I'm like, yo, I gotta wake up I gotta start waking up early again, which I was already waking up early. So, but Alyssa kind of messed that up for me. Now I gotta wake up even earlier, and so to get my, because you know I gotta spend time with my lady. So I can't skip out on that. I can't just be like, all right, she come all the way down here to see me, and I'm gonna be on the phone the whole time just working and research and stuff. Can't do that. So now I got to get up even earlier. It's whooping my backside. It's doing the number on me. Like I just like fall asleep like standing up most days. It happens. It happens. And you know.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta sacrifice sleep in the long run. I feel
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, because you know it was 168 hours in a week. And they say you're supposed to spend 58 of it sleeping. It's a long time.
God.
That's half the week, ain't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's at about 62% of the week. Like it's 58 hours. Like this is crazy. It's crazy. I can barely sleep 5 hours a night. Like I ain't got the juicing. I got the juice. Even when I am tired, I still wake up early.
I mean, that's your body though. I remember I could like fall asleep at like maybe like 11, 12, and then just get up at 4. That was like during like a regular school schedule. Like that was only because I had like college classes while I was in high school, so I had to wake up early to catch a bus that would take us all the way to like it's kind of like a tech lab that they had in Southfield.
Do what?
Yeah, I was taking college courses in high school. It was like
You one of those?
I don't know what y'all call it. We call it
What you mean by one of those?
You one of those? Like
What?
one of those, smart kids.
Did you graduate with honors?
I was one class. I failed Spanish, so I couldn't get an advanced diploma. But I did get like AB honor roll.
Does it make a difference?
Get an advanced diploma?
Yeah,
No, it does not.
I didn't think so. Like you just do all that extra work for nothing.
Basically,
I got like a little beef with the public education system anyway. Just a little beef, and especially like not even public education, like all education, all formal education in general. Because like when Alyssa told me what they taught her as far as like business management goes in college, I was like, and this is like this ain't no bullshit college. Like she went to CSU, and I'm like, they taught what they didn't teach you anything. Like you worked hard, yeah. Like kudos to you for getting that diploma, but
Said kudos.
but they bullshit. They didn't give you what you needed to thrive. Like you still gotta put in work to figure out how to dominate. Like they taught you how to survive.
Basically, bet you she can take all the tests she wants and pass them.
Yeah, but then you think about it, that's all degrees anyway. So, but that's a different podcast. That's a little bit more on the negative side of things. We were doing a good job keeping it positive up until that point.
But, to put it in like standard terms for like people out there, like find your talent, find the talent. Find your talent, what you're talented in, and just feed it water, feed it whatever you need to feed it to make it grow, to just do you. Like, do what makes you feel good, what just puts a smile on your face that you're just naturally good at. Because, others going to look at it like, oh, man, he's putting all this hard work into, something they can't do and tell you to stop. Like, how does that work? Like, you should be wanting to do what people can't do.
And
Or
don't let
what they're
people
not
talk
doing.
you out of it either.
Yeah, because they don't know. They might have tried, but they stopped. But you're still going. Maybe you have a drive and determination that they don't, that helps you succeed at your talent, which they failed at.
And I promise you, when it comes time to to working on you and your passion, your goals, your dreams, or whatever, the people who you love the most are going to be the ones that try to derail you the most when it comes to those things.
Usually.
Yeah, that is a really big fact, and it was a hard thing for me to realize when I went through it, because I've never really had that supportive family that would just be like, okay, if you want to do something, yeah, you can do it. How can I help you? No, we ain't got that. In our family, it's like, oh, you can do that though, but you still ain't paid me my money yet. Or
What
yeah,
that got to do with what I want
right,
to do?
right. Like I had the kind of mom like, oh, you doing that? You better wash them damn dishes. Do what? Like, do what? Like, yeah, we don't do supportive. It's like I've heard that it was like the black community that does that mostly. I don't believe that. I think it's mostly like something's gonna make noise. I generally believe it's like the your environment in general.
You actually might want to get that. That says an update is about to happen in 5 minutes.
No, that says update the planner. That's a
okay.
that's a schedule notification.
Whew.
Anyway.
I thought the whole bit was about to go.
Yeah. Anyway. What was I saying?
Sorry, through your
Black community.
Yes. I've like recently, like there's been people who say that it's just in the black community that you deal with problems like that, where you have like a bunch of crab in the bucket kind of people, but it's just your environment.
right.
If you grew up in an environment where you have a lot of people that does that, then that's all you're going to know. But the one thing that people don't really realize is that the world is a lot bigger than just the environment that you grew up in. Like, just because you see a bunch of drugs being dealt in your neighborhood doesn't mean that every neighborhood has drug dealers on every corner. Like, I grew up with drug dealers. There's drug dealers in my family, and that's all they know. And had I stayed around them people, that's all I would know. So it takes you to realize where you're at, and that accountability thing, that self-assessment that ET is always talking about. Like, you have to realize like where you are, who you are, and what have you done, like, and be able to like.
I'm so sorry.
You good. And you had to be able to take full accountability for everything that's going on in your life. And if you don't have a certain type of influence around you, then you need to do whatever you need to do to find it.
I'm sorry, that could have been your school.
Probably was.
They be calling you?
Yeah.
That's sad. Yeah.
For what about what?
To get like updates and your class is about to come.
Oh,
come to an
surveys.
end, yeah.
Yeah, my school does that, and they spam the hell out of my emails.
My son's insurance called me today about a survey.
What's going on with people?
What's the survey? What is up with this census? No.
No. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that on this episode. Let's not do that on this one.
He did not know what it was, so.
Yeah,
What?
We ain't going there. We're not going there. Not on this episode. We had a good positive vibe going. We're gonna keep that positive vibe going. But it's weird. Like your environment is everything, and I look at everything that goes into the body as data, and this is like something that one of my old sergeants from my unit in Fort Eustis taught me. Like, he wrote a book called Love Thyself, Know Thyself. And love yourself, know yourself. I think that's the name. I have it in the living room. But he explained like everything that goes into the body as data. Like everything you hear is data, everything you see is data, everything you eat is data. And like whether good or bad data is still data. Like if you eat something that's you shouldn't be eating, that's bad for your body, like for the sense of eating healthy, like it's still data. It's still going to register as something inside the body. Right. So if you hear something that's his name is Kevin Yarbrough, by the way, but anybody who wants to look up his book online, I think I might be able to find the links to it. I'm not sure if he's still selling it or not. I just know I bought a copy because he's a pretty deep dude. But everything that you hear, this is like the reason why I don't listen to the news either, because everything is negative. Right. Everything that you turn, like pretty much everything on TV is pretty much negative. If you don't control what you're watching, then it could be very dangerous to your self-development, because most things are meant to keep you following trends and not was like really something to elevate you for the most part. And I like our environment, like I complain a lot about the people that we work with, and that's because we spend a lot of time with those people. Regardless of how you put it, we still spend a lot of time. We spend more time with the people that we work with than our families. And and it's crazy, but those people, they have their own certain set of mentalities, and for the most part, everybody whose mentality that falls in line of where we work at is pretty much the same. And it's not necessarily a good mentality to have either, because they're mostly complacent people. And I say that in a very loving way. You guys aren't necessarily as deep as I would like, because we talked about in a previous episode where I want to talk up here and everybody else's conversation is like very average and mediocre. They just want to talk about the trends, the football games, the basketball games, what video games is coming out, memes. Oh the memes conversation, I'm so confused as to why that's such a big thing.
I'm not sure.
Like they funny, like most of them are funny, like I give you that. You found some hilarious ones. Like my favorite one is like the SpongeBob one. All right, I'm gonna head out. Like that one has me like, you can just apply that to so many things in life, and but anyway, I could use that as an excuse as to why I'm not succeeding, because I'm not around a certain type of influence, or I can use it as motivation to get from around that. And I choose the latter, because like I see my future in those people. Like we have people that's twice our age working with us, and they've been working jobs like that their entire life. Right. Granted, it might not have been that job, but they've been working those jobs for our entire life, for those type of jobs. And I always put myself in the situation to hear from people with deeper knowledge than I have.
So about the people that are always like, trying to talk down here and trying to talk up there. Mm-hmm. How could we change that? Like what could we do to get the ball rolling to change that?
Change the environment or change the people?
You can't change nobody if they don't want to change.
That is true.
Yeah, because I don't like to sign up for that class.
Because that class will be very rowdy,
very long. You will be spending all of your time trying to figure out that, and not enough time trying to figure you out. So therefore, the only way that I see that's mostly effective when it comes to like changing the minds and hearts of people is to just do what you like, have your own values, your own set of values, and put out the energy into the world that you want to receive back. So like for me, getting up at 3:00 in the morning every day, like nobody can pretty much, like there's nobody who can match that. Like unless you work a night shift and you getting up on purpose and you have somewhere to go, like people ain't usually, like the typical person ain't waking up at 3:00 in the morning on their day off. Like that just don't happen. Like the typical person ain't getting out of their bed and go working out. Like that's just not happening. The typical person is not like don't spend 14 hours awake in their apartment and never turn on the TV. Like that's typically not the thing that's going on. But the best way to do it is to just model the behavior that you want to see around you. And that's why I was so concerned about the dude, the one guy we were just talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was so concerned about that, because I'm like, yo, am I really putting that type of information out into the universe? Like, am I really doing that? I was confused, man.
You always gonna come against some of those rocks or people that flow against the current.
People just stand, like the boulders that stand in the middle of the stream.
Yeah.
Those people.
You gotta. I mean, it's sad, but you gotta push past them and like just keep moving. If they do have good intentions, you hope for the best. If they don't,
I don't know the way my man disrespected me.
Karma gonna get that.
Yeah, the way he came at me, I don't know. I can't say good intentions on that one. Like, you read the messages, like it wasn't nothing good intent about that. Like there was nothing well intent about that.
I was like, bruh, simple text.
And it was your fault. That's the part I don't get. Like, but
Moving on.
Yeah,
but like I do have a question though.
What's up?
Am I tripping? And I did kind of get this far for this little question from Secret to Success. CJ does it on that just about every episode, but I got a question that I need an answer to. But am I tripping, or do people just love reinventing the wheel?
Ooh.
And not only reinventing the wheel, but people just love to reinvent a square wheel.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna get into why I asked that after the podcast, because like a certain individual asked me a question about something that we've already done, tried, and failed at, and asked me about how to recreate it. We'll get into that.
Right.
We'll get into that.
But man, it's just like we don't learn. We as a society, we suck at learning. We can retain and hold information, but actually understanding it and making it better and growing from it, we just regurgitate it. We just reduplicate it. Reduplicate it? Is that?
No,
Duplicate it. My bad.
Duplicate is already.
But I mean, if you duplicate duplication, anyway. But yeah, we do right.
Bro, hold up. No, move past that.
But yeah, like I said, we're gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like if we keep teaching history and not actually understanding it and learning from it, we're just gonna fail and just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it.
All right, I guess that does add a bit of a different perspective to how I was looking at it, because I'm like, bro, that's just stupidity.
Well, I mean, yeah, that too. That is the definition of insanity.
Exactly. Like, and it's, oh man, you know what? It's that I just wanted an answer to that, because like, it's funny how we don't learn from the mistakes of others. Like, we get so entangled in this lone wolf mentality, thinking it's me against the world. And I've been there I've been there in that situation, thinking that it's me against the world for the majority of my life, even when it comes to this podcast. Before this, I talked to you about how I did a podcast like 3 years ago,
Right.
and never really did anything with it because I never had anybody on it with me. It's kind of weird to sit there and talk to yourself for a whole hour. It just don't feel good. Plus, it's not as entertaining to listen to, especially not as entertaining as a Dirty Drunk podcast. In my opinion, I still have the episodes I listened to them recently. They're not good. They're not good. I'll probably post someone somewhere. Well, they already posted, but regardless, yeah, like people just don't learn from the mistakes of others. Like I love to to like if I'm in a state of mind and do something. Like right now, I'm learning from J.K. Rowling's story and her story. People like James Cameron, people like what's the guys? Why am I drawing a blank right now? What's that guy's name? Alyssa's favorite author. James Patterson.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I'm learning from people like them, like their stories, because they're who I need to model after. Right. If I know I'm doing something, I need to find a person with the most success at what I'm doing or what I want to do, what I'm passionate about, and figure out what they did, what they didn't do, what they wish they did, how they lived their lives, I want to know what they ate in the morning. I want to know how they slept at night. I want to know where they slept at night, bro. I want to know who they kept around them, where they made mistakes at, and the things that they wish they changed on their way up. I want to know everything about their story because I want to emulate what they did to get to that success. Because the one thing that you know about success, like, and I don't know if you heard this, E.T. has a track called Uncle Warren off the Dr. Thomas album, and he was talking about how Warren Buffett reads 6 to 8 hours a day.
Right.
6 to 8 hours a day. E.T. was like, yo, that's a lot. But this is the second richest man in the world. I'm not about to argue with this dude. Like Warren Buffett said, you want to know what I'm reading right now to E.T. He was like, nah, what you reading right now? He's like, Ford's 1962 financial report. He was like, why are you reading that? It's 2015. What are you doing? He was like, because they were successful in 1952. And success don't have an expiration date.
Ooh.
So, bro, like, I want to know what they did wrong, what they did right, everything. Like, I'm all in it. Like, I'm researching everything right now. Like, if they got an autobiography, even Jeff Bezos, I'm on it.
Facts.
He got an autobiography. I'm about to find out how he came from the garage
to what it is
now. Like, everybody. Like Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, like all these dudes, like none of them were like wildly successful when they first started.
Right.
Like I can't think of many successful people who were wildly successful at the beginning. But now they've come like so far, like what was that Henry Schultz got turned down by 62 banks to get a loan for Starbucks. The first Starbucks. 62 banks turned him down. Bro, that's insane. So I want to learn from the mistakes of others. So it baffles me when you have people who come out the woodwork and ask you, especially people that you wanted to work with at a certain point, and they just they ignore you. They don't talk to you. They don't let you in on what's going on. You try to help, and they ask you a question about something. It almost feels like they're just trying to make conversation.
I mean, yeah, most of the time it can be that, or like they don't have that drive. What you're explaining is like pure drive, like drive and motivation. A lot of people they don't want to put in work, like we've been saying. Like they just
lazy.
Yeah, like you said in I think it was
she said it, not me.
Not about the lazy, but somebody said it. I think it was you in the last episodes or whatever. They're all about survival. They don't want to put in the work to actually live their life.
It sounds like we just stepped right into a zoo. I thought those was like monkeys. I was like, what in there? Somebody turned on the TV or something? We need to turn the National Geographic outside. Also, like one of my biggest motivators is to get out of apartment living. I hate it. I want to buy me some land and build a house on it with my own two hands. I want to build a house on.
I'm like, come here, sonny. You better respect this house and build it with my own two hands.
See that little spot of concrete? That's your mom's handprint. That's my handprint right next to it.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, it's happening.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
happening. I already talked to Lee about it. We got some big goals. We got some real big goals.
But yeah, people should always they should do what they love, man. Like I get tired of people get like stuck in the same rut,
Mm-hmm.
go to the same job,
Mhm.
just complain about it. I'm like, you have the keys to success. Like it's out there.
With
It's in your face.
Bad Baby.
You just
said
got
one-
bad baby.
Yeah, the Catch Me Outside girl.
Oh,
Well, she said the deepest shit one time.
come on.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that deep, but it was deep.
It
was like-
wasn't even that deep, but it was
Like somebody was complaining about their situation,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, she just looked at him and was like, "You ain't a tree, bitch. Leave."
I mean,
The simplest advice, like just straight up, like just bitch leave.
true.
Wait,
True.
all right, so I do have another question though. Why is it that the people who get fired from a job every year always seem to be like the people who be the most successful when it's all said and done?
Because they've faced adversity. They've dealt with that fear of losing the job, and with losing the job, you gotta buckle down. You're like, all right, I'm not getting this income. I need to do something that makes me money, or that pays the bills. I mean, they could have went back to a 9 to 5, but maybe getting fired that many times like just sparked something in them and was like, all right, I need to get on my shit. I've been fired this many times. All right, maybe I need to change something up here, do my own thing, or just find another 9 to 5.
I came to a realization recently because I did have a friend that I graduated high school with, and this is one of those dudes that he don't sit in one spot for more than 5 days without itching to move somewhere else. Like he one of those like the lease up, I'm gone. Like he find a reason not to live everywhere he's ever lived at in the first month that he ever moved in a place. Like dead serious. Like
God dang.
he's like he came from here. Now he lives in like Baltimore or something. Like I don't know how he ended up in Baltimore. I do have to ask about that because I'm a little concerned about how he ended up there of all places. But
Don't come from out.
I know I was born there too. I just on my birth certificate. Chill out.
You live there.
Chill,
You didn't
chill out,
live
chill out,
there.
chill out.
Okay.
I got you. But anyway, no, I'm not to say there is anything bad about Baltimore. It's like this dude just like he's up and going all the time. Like he will start a job and he will quit if like when the job pisses him off. Like he ain't staying. Like all the shit that we talking about our job and like how we wish that we can leave. This dude just does it. But the thing is though, like I realized something about this guy versus people like me and people like most of America, where we get so stuck on the security of having a steady job that we forget to go out and live our lives. So I knew the answer to that question. That's why, but it sparked up a good conversation because it's something that like was really prominent to me recently, with somebody that recently got fired from. But,
Beep.
anyway, so another curse word. Somebody who recently got fired from our job. Now they. It just seems like they moved up instead of, making a lateral move to another job. It just seems like people who is in that transitional period is constantly going up because they're always looking for something more opposed to being stuck where they are because there's nothing holding them. Like, I feel like at this point, like a job right now is an anchor. And like, how many times have you like heard about like a success story where somebody was like, I quit my job so I can focus only on my passion. And that's when I was like wildly successful. And it makes me wonder, like, do I have to quit my job in order to be successful at what I got going on?
It's risky.
It's such a scary thought, but there's people out here who does it, like they do it.
I mean,
and it's been
They
done.
probably have that support system, you know, family backing them up.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes it will depend on what they have going on, like in the background, or just in their lives in general. Some could be in a position where they don't have to work for $1, like they get like maybe a disability or
True.
some
Bro, like
type
if I was
of
in an
other
old
type of
boy,
thing.
if I was in an old boy position, dog, like I'm sitting in front of a computer for 40 hours. My computer. Bro, do you know? And I'm sitting up here wishing for like 1 extra hour in the day
Right.
so I can edit a video. And this dude is like sitting in front of the computer for hours on end. Like, dude, do you understand the amount of work I would be putting in if I ain't have a job? Like, dog, like, oh man,
This is
oh
what
man,
goes back to drive. Like he could
yeah.
be, like he said he was doing. He could have like, he could be in a position where he didn't need to call you or us. All right,
Facts.
because this wasn't recent. His condition.
Yeah, it's been 10 years in the making now.
See, people get comfortable.
Flip the table. Flip the table. 10 years.
Yeah, he's my age.
How much stuff we could have got done. Oh man. Okay. All right.
But that goes back to that compound effect and the domino effect. Like, you plant the seed, just like the Ascension Universe took 10 years to become what it is now.
I feel that.
His whatever he does took 10 years to. I guess he
Manifest.
learned like took 10 years to learn how to craft a good story.
Never do that.
We still
do
found
that.
a way to make this. We still found a way to make this episode negative. Oh God, goddamn.
We messed it up.
So we're going to end this episode right here.
Before we start roasting people.
But we
Oh God.
ain't got our insurance yet, so we probably need to stop before we anyway. Guys, get over to this. This episode is sponsored by.
We're doing sponsors
Wait,
now?
hold
me.
on. Who's sponsoring us?
Me.
Oh.
No, for real. This episode is sponsored by us at AMG. Head over to amgdynasty.com or ascensiondynasty.com/shop. Either way you want to get to it. That's just so people don't get confused. Ascensiondynasty.com/shop to pick up your Ascension Star merchandise.
You should spell it out for him.
Spell out AMG Dynasty. It's spelled out AMG.
I thought you was like Ascension. I was like, everybody got spell check. Google.
But
talk.
that's why AMG Dynasty. That's why we balled out and we bought both domains. So people who can't spell Ascension, they could just type in AMG Dynasty.com. But anyway, yeah, just
Around.
ooh, yeah. I didn't mean for that to happen. I didn't mean for that. That was a weird coincidence. Yeah. So get yourself some Ascension Star merch because remember your destiny is written in the stars, not on the ground. So always keep your head up. We are going to end that conversation on that note.
Yes, sir.
And it has been. Thank you guys for listening to the. Which one is it again, Mark?
The last one.
The last one. No.
Yeah.
That's so.
Ready.
Oh yeah. Be sure to check the links on our description for all of our other content, including Mac of all trades with the funny, very funny, very brand new segment Eminem Reacts. Brought to you by Miss Coco. To give her credit where credit is due.
Yes.
Not your fault.
All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out.
Bye.
Peace.